Okay, so let's dig into how we should be creating this particular section. And to do this, the first thing that I want to do is I'll go to the editor and I'll click on Add Section. And we have plenty of options to pick from the sections, pre-made sections, but I'll start with blank just so that we get a good understanding of how we want to create our layout, just the way it looks like over here. So I'll start with a two-column block just so that I can put items, and then underneath it we will add three more rows like so. So now that we have our basic kind of layout set up, let's work on the background side of things for the section. So I'll name this section um, intro, and then we'll pick a background image. I already have all my assets in one folder, so I'll just click on add background image, drag out this image, and there we have the image. And now let's add the blue or the purple color as a background, and then I'll change the transparency of it just a little bit there so that we can see the background image in there just slightly. And just make sure that we add some spacing above and below. So I'll just go to the vertical spacing and I'll make it large. Maybe extra large looks better. It looks a lot closer to the layout. And then I'll just drag out some text. Let's also add the button right under the text. So just drag it in, and I'll style the button a little bit. We'll give it a name. I think it says get a free quote. Then I'll go into the color. I have the color in my clipboard, so I'll just paste it there. And then we'll change the style of it. We'll change the alignment first so it's on the right or left, sorry. And make it large. And yep, looks the same. Let me just add the text. The company. I'll also go to this website called Lorem Ipsum. It's just to find dummy text on a template, just to quickly add text so that I don't bore you with my, you know, typing and everything. But I can just copy a text. It's a placeholder text that you can use when you're creating templates. So I'll just paste it right over there after writing the name. Change it to title so it looks nice and big. Underneath it, I'll just paste the text and I'll change the style of it to normal text, but let's just make it just a little bit bigger just so that it complements the title that we have going on. Let's also add some padding above and below the text. I feel that we can make some breathing room around the text so that it's kind of in the center of everything around it, like so, as you can see over here. The next thing I want to do is in that second column that we created, I'll right now we have, the intro, and then in the intro we have the first row and then the second row. I'll click on the first row, and in the second column I want to add that background color of white. We'll also do the whole curviness around it and what have you. So I'll quickly add the white background color, and in the style I also want to change that radius to maybe a 10. This looks good. One other thing that we also want to do is make sure that we make it mobile responsive. So I'll drag that, and you can see as I click on mobile it's next to each other. That does not look good, so I'll drag it to make it a full width so that it stacks underneath and creates that really unique mobile responsiveness. I'll do the same thing with the first column also. I'm just going into the column setting and making sure that it looks nice and pretty. And let's switch back to the desktop view. I'll add some text. It'll be just a placeholder text. We'll remove it. Ideally, we want to do this two column kind of look, deeply nested look inside of the second column. So I'll click on manage layout, click on the column 2, and underneath the text is where I want to add a row. And when I click on the row, I want to select the two column look. One of them will have our image for the, I don't think I have an icon, maybe the image is what I have for it. So I'll just drag out the image and then text on the other side. And we know that the width of the icon is smaller, so let's just fix that by going into the column and then adjusting the width of the column essentially. So I'll click over there and I'll just change the width to be maybe 2. That looks good. And then I'll just click on the image and replace it with the icon that I already have. I think it's the filter one, yep. So I'll just add that in. And let's just update the text. I think the text on it said filter your leads. Change it to subtitle. I think the subtitle looks better. And underneath that, I'll just add some text. We'll change the size of it to normal text. What I also want to do is add, so a black color usually doesn't look that good on a layout, so I'll add a shade of gray that looks good to the fonts. So we don't have a full black, but we have a shade of black, which makes the text pop out a little bit more than just a very dark color. But besides that, what I'll do is I'll remove this top placeholder text that I created, and now we have that first look that we are going for. What I want to do next is shift click on that second column to get to the column quickly, and I want to change the spacing so that we can get that breathing room around the block. So I'll add vertical spacing of large and horizontal spacing of large also, so that we have that spacing, the padding up top and at the bottom of the block that we are creating. Next, let's just go into manage layout, into the intro section, and in the row and then the second column. And what I want to do is, because we already created this row with the icon on the left and text on the right, I want to duplicate this row multiple times so that we get that place where we can quickly add the other items in there. Now I'll speed up this part just to adjust the widths, and we'll jump back to where we started, where we will replace the icons. So I'll pick the right icon, and for the last one, I think it's the gate, or the kind of the shop front. Yeah. And then I'll quickly change the text here. Now that we have this column created, one thing I noticed in the layout, there is a little bit of a space right there between the two items, and so let's go about fixing that. So I'll shift click on first column, I'll switch the width of it to maybe 5. Yeah, 5 looks good. And then on the second one, I'll change the width to about 6. So it's about a 11 grid. Uh, and then I'll switch the alignment of it to the left align. And so that's how we can create that little space in between the two columns essentially. So then let's work on the bottom columns. We want to add them like this, add a little purple background to them, and what we want to do is I can just add text to the first one. What I want to do is I'll just perfect the first one, and then we can repeat the same pattern in the next two columns. So I'll go ahead and quickly add some text. Now we'll add the background color of purple, change some transparency on it. Okay, that looks decent. And some radius. Okay, let me just add some spacing up top and bottom. So we'll be adding some padding. I think large looks fine. Now I want to delete the other two columns. Idea is we'll just replicate the first one over and over. So I'll shift and right click on it and go to duplicate. But notice how they're touching each other. They're edge to edge. And I'll show you guys a better method of doing this. So I'll go to the the second row number 2, and then in here we have this column, and I'll go to its settings, and we'll go to the settings, and when we duplicate it, as you can see again, it's just making it touch each other. And what we want is we want a good spacing between each of them. And so what I can do is I can obviously make the width of it on a mobile device completely wide so it's visible on a mobile device. And then in the spacing in the horizontal, I want to add maybe a small margin to the left and right, and that's why we did horizontal. And now when I duplicate it, you can see it's clearly creating that really nice space, and it looks very close to what we have. So now I can just quickly change the text to match. As I speed the text changing, I'll see you in the next video.